Hi there, and welcome to the Danny Steve Show, where we talk about issues related to accessibility, education, and other tips that you might find useful. Thanks for tuning in. Here's your host, Danny Steves.
Thank you, Julie, and welcome to today's episode of the Danny Steve Show. I'm your host, Danny Steve, and today I'm joined by Nicole Erickson from the inclusion class. Welcome to the um, show, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Uh, well, my pleasure. I want to start on how did you come up with the inclusion class, and would you mind sharing your story a bit?
Yeah. So I'm a teacher,
Yeah.
and I taught. I'm actually Canadian, and I taught in British Columbia for about 15 years. And British Columbia has an inclusive school system. So that means that students of all abilities are educated in the general education classroom with support. So depending on a student's needs, they'll have the appropriate supports in order to be receiving their education with other students of all abilities. So my background is in inclusive education and teaching students of all needs and abilities in a general education classroom. In 2007, my family moved down to California, and I noticed that inclusive education wasn't widely practiced here. There was still the use of segregated special education classrooms that I observed in the local school system. And the more I started talking to people around California and the US, the more I realized that it is not widely practiced really anywhere. So I began the Inclusive Class blog in order to raise awareness about inclusive education and the benefits and how it is practiced, and why, most importantly, why we practice inclusive education, why we practice it in the first place. And so the blog is there to advocate for inclusion and to provide people with information and strategies for actually practicing inclusive education. So that's what I do right now is I advocate for inclusion.
Uh, Absolutely. And I think that is so important. Um, I'll just give you a bit of my background as well. Um, uh, I, I, I went to Wingham Public School up in Ontario, and I, I I had a really good public school experience, but my high school was not so great. Because after a year and a half of high school, I have I had to beg them to put me in credited credited courses because they didn't think I was smart enough to um, get my enough credit. So what would what what would you be what would your advice be on that for people struggling with their son or daughter in the school system?
So, if people are struggling in the school system for more inclusive opportunities, it's really important to share with the administrators in the building and the teachers and the special education support teachers the benefits of inclusive education, which are numerous, far-reaching. There hasn't been a study since the 70s that has told us inclusion is not beneficial and not to everyone's advantage for students who are and are not needing special education support. So sharing a bit of background about the benefits of inclusion is important. Also sharing the students' strengths and whether it is in a portfolio form or in any sort of format that would be able to best display the students' abilities and strengths. And I also think that having people support your advocacy work as well. So connecting with other people who have either experienced inclusive education or been an inclusion teacher or are in an inclusive school themselves, finding that support system and learning how it's been implemented for them or how it's practiced at their school site.
Mm-hmm.
It can be challenging, I'm not going to lie, people are very set in their ways. It's really about showing them everything that you can to support why inclusion is best for all.
That would be my next question. What if the school doesn't get what you're trying to get across? How would you approach that?
Yeah, so as I said, it can be challenging because you are asking people to approach education in a way that they're not familiar with. So there are dozens and dozens of studies done on the benefits of inclusion. I would start by collecting that research, and there are many advocates out there who advocate for inclusive education, specifically with school boards and classrooms, accessing their expertise and knowledge. There are videos, even on YouTube, that demonstrate how inclusion can be practiced. Because that's the other issue that a lot of schools have is that, okay, yes, we know this is great, but how do we do it?
Yeah.
What steps?
In my experience, they pardon my language here, but it's almost like talking to a brick wall, because it's hard to get through to them.
Yes, and that sadly is the reality for many people who want more inclusive opportunities. Now, as I mentioned, there's ways of presenting that information and really trying to encourage their participation by giving them specific examples of how it's done, and having them, having people with the experience of practicing inclusion come in and speak with them, or at least give them some resources. That's the biggest fear, because it does take the entire school system to provide an inclusive education for all. So it really is a group effort.
So, what would you say to the teacher who has a disabled child in their class? What is the best way of working with them?
Working with the child, or convincing the teacher that...
Both.
Okay. So first of all teachers are trained to teach students, a variety of students.
Yeah.
There's not one teacher who has a class of students, a group of students, that does not have, statistically, that does not have a student who has some form of learning disability or learning needs, whether it's a child who has challenges with reading, or a child who has challenges with behavior. Every class is basically a mixed bag of abilities. So for a teacher who is resistant to taking a child with more visible disabilities in the classroom, or visible special needs in the classroom, it really is not, to say that, well, I'm not a teacher that can teach that child with special needs. It's not about that, because you're already teaching so many different types of kids.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in order to specifically support, so what you want the teacher to do and understand is that they're already teaching a wide variety of students. Now, with this one student in particular, with perhaps more special needs than another student, yes, you're going to need to find some more resources, learn a little bit maybe more about that child's specific needs. You will have to have the support of a special education teacher, but it's already a part of your job. You're just doing it to other extents with other children, right?
What if a teacher is not really open to finding out more information about that student?
So then, as a parent, I let parents know that compile that information for the teacher. Bring that information to the teacher in a way that's probably isn't, too time-consuming, but I mean, I would bring stacks of research and reports, but I would provide the teacher with information about my child, their health needs, if relevant, their learning needs, obviously. I would provide the teacher with the best ways to teach my child, or things that have worked in the past. As parents, you know your child best.
Yep.
You know what works.
Yeah, you sure do. Yeah.
And I would also, perhaps if there's been a situation in the past that your child has been in and has been very successful in an inclusive situation, you can explain that and how that worked. I think teachers they want to be able to provide the best learning environment possible for each child. And if they feel like they can't provide that environment, that's when they get stuck. So giving them the information that they need, the resources, perhaps the community resources that are available for the teacher. There are certain community organizations that are able to support student learning in the classroom. So giving them that information that you have.
Can you name some of the organizations?
Well, they're different here than what they would be in Canada, obviously. But I'm thinking, for example, if your child attends or goes to a speech language therapist outside of school, or occupational therapists, or I know that in Canada there are a lot of community organizations or provincial organizations. For example, in British Columbia, there's an organization called Inclusion BC, and going to them to access those resources that you can, suggest to the school. They work in partnerships with schools a lot and giving them information, and because not every school is equipped with all of the resources and support that a student needs.
Right, yeah.
So a lot of these community and provincial organizations will work with schools to give them these resources. There's also, I know through the Ministry of Education in British Columbia, there's an organization called SETBC, who provides assistive technology to schools, training, workshops, all kinds of ways all kinds of, strategies, technology, ways to support students, especially in the classroom.
Okay. What is, say for example, a teacher has a student who really doesn't get math or whatever they're teaching, because of their age level. How would you approach that?
That's a great question, and I actually just finished writing a book about that. And that is a situation that requires the teacher to modify the student's work. Particularly if the student is not working at the same developmental level or grade level as the other students in the class. And so there are two sort of strategies or approaches that teachers can take to adapt work for students with special needs. One of them is providing accommodations for the student. So for example, if the student is able to work at grade level, but perhaps does not have good fine motor skills, then the teacher can have a paraprofessional scribe for the student, or their speech technology for the student. Those are kind of accommodations that teachers can make if the student is able to understand the material. Now, if the student is working at a different grade level than the rest of the class, they need to modify the work. And I have to basically preface modifications, sort of lesson modifications. They're pretty, they require basically the support and the consent of the student and the student's parents and the student's IEP, because it alters what the student is going to learn. So, teacher, for example, math. If you've got a grade 6, grade 7, grade 8 math class, let's say grade 8. And the class is learning a concept that may be more challenging for the student with special needs. Perhaps that student is working at a grade, say 6 level or grade 5 level. There are strategies that the teacher can use to take the work that's been done in grade 8 and modify it so that it's more appropriate for the student who's working at a grade 5 level. One very kind of easy, quick, simple way is to look at the concept that they're learning in grade 8 and find that related concept at the grade 5 level. And
is that hard to find?
No, very easy. Basically, a teacher is looking at the curriculum standards for the grade. So that's available online. The teacher can go simply to the grade 5 math, grade 5 teacher in the school and say, hey, what kinds of topics? So for example, if in grade 8 they're working on I don't know, let's say I don't even I'm just throw something out there. Multiplying with fractions, for example. They can go to the grade 5 teacher and say, hey, what would be, what's kind of the precursor to teaching multiplication, multiplying fractions? What strand that in? And the teacher, the grade 8 teacher, can get resources from the grade 5 teacher are within the same concept.
Okay.
The other thing is that the teacher can even just modify the work that is being given to the grade 8 class. So if the student is still working on multiplying single-digit numbers, the teacher can just cross out or write in on the math, the grade 8 math sheet, maybe using the numbers that are already on the grade 8 math sheet, and just write in equations that are relevant to the student with special needs. So the student may not be learning the exact same material, but they're working within the same theme, or they're working on the same paper, or they're working on the same concept but at a simpler level.
Okay.
A variety of ways that you can approach that situation.
I wanted to ask you, I did a bit of research on you before the interview, and I saw something about the think tank. Can you share about that?
Sorry, what was the topic?
The think tank.
Oh, think tank.
Yeah.
I'm trying to recall. Where did you see it?
I Googled you.
Oh. That might have been for, I did some work for an organization called Polybean.
Yeah.
So I did some writing for them, strategies for them. So they, myself along with some other inclusive education experts, we sort of all did some writing for this organization, and she called it the think tank group. So but the organization is fabulous for people who want to keep up on information about special needs. In the U.S., it's more common for us to say students or people with disabilities. I'm not sure what people, what phrase is being used in Canada right now, but
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you want to touch on before we end?
Well, I think first and foremost, inclusive education is beneficial for everyone involved, and I'm speaking from experience and the experience of others. It can be done, even in the most uncertain situations. Trust me. It is being done. It can be done, and it should be done. There are many resources out there for both parents and teachers and administrators. You can start by looking at my website, inclusiveclass.com. And from there, from my site, you can branch off into, I've linked to many other resources on the internet, and podcasts and webinars.
Yeah.
The modifications that I was speaking about earlier, I've just finished writing a book about how teachers modify work, and it will be released in April, and it will be available on Amazon and at brookspublishing.com.
So, what is the name of the book?
We haven't settled on yet, but the name of the book. But we're going to finalize that by the end of the week. But it will have ways to modify work for students with IEPs in the title. So you can just Google my name and it will come up. Nicole Eredick.
So, how do you get students on IEP for those who don't know?
Oh, that's a very formal process that involves a team of people at the school. And generally the student comes to school already with needs that have been identified by specialists in the community, for example, doctors, occupational therapists, speech language pathologists. Or the student will be identified once they're in the school system. And when I say identified, I mean students identified as needing extra supports with their learning or their education. So once the student is identified, the teacher, the administrator, the special education team, teacher, any sort of other learning support professionals of the child's needs or student needs, we come together with the parents and the student and create a program that meets their individual needs. And that's what the student can learn, what the student is able to learn, how they should learn it, what kind of supports are needed to learn. For example, is there technology required? And it's written down, and it's a legally binding document, and it's called an individual education plan or an individual education program in the U.S. And that document is reviewed every year to make sure that it's meeting the child's needs or the child's needs. So it's a very formal process, yet very I guess important to the students' education experience.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and maybe I'll have you back on the show again sometime and we'll talk a bit more.
Would love that. Thank you so much for having me. It was great talking with you.
Thank you.